Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm going to start here. It's so important what I'm about to show you and go over. This is Brad Garlinghouse yesterday, back in D.C. today to meet with members of Congress alongside Stuart Alderati, and this guy, Rob Grant. He's the father of 4 awesome boys. He's husband to an amazing wife, believer that the world needs more kindness, and leading the way on global policy for Ripple. Nice to meet you, Rob Grant. I don't remember his name, okay? So they're in D.C., and then it got interesting. They took a picture, Stuart Alderati and Brad Garlinghouse, swung by the Supreme Court in between meetings in D.C. while the industry waits for legislative clarity for Congress. We should always be able to count on checks and balances. So that's a little grenade thrown about we'll take this all the way to the Supreme Court, obviously. But then it got really good. This might be, besides the interview that Brad Garlinghouse did with Anthony Pompliano, where Pompliano said China wouldn't have any effect on Bitcoin mining or whatever, the face that Brad Garlinghouse had, I think this may even replace that as the most epic photo. Brad Garlinghouse said had to take a picture in front of the SEC building while in town. In case you're wondering, no, Chair Gensler did not invite us. Now, there was a lot of commentary on this. This was mine. If you could prove criminality, corruption, and collusion at the SEC, you'd take this photo too, is what I should have said, too. Okay? Now, Fred Rispoli I want to zero in on what Fred Rispoli says here. What an FU to the SEC by a multi-billion-dollar organization CEO and chief legal officer, general counsel. This never would have happened 5 years ago, i.e. the top executives of a company of such magnitude openly taunting the SEC. That's what I want to focus in on, folks. This is a symbol. The XRP, what the XRP community has done with ETHgate, what was done with ETHgate is because the people of this country are sick and tired. These regulators like the SEC, these bodies were not created to go after your citizens and your businesses. They were not created to have government organizations and entities and lifetime bureaucrats like Gary Gensler. They were not created to have them lie in wait so that they could play gotcha with American citizens and American companies. They were created to protect those same citizens. They were created to protect those citizens so that you could go in and say, hey, SEC, listen, I'm not up to, kind of like what Ripple did for years before the SEC sued them. I'm not trying to do anything nefarious. I want you to see what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing. And I want to work with you so that we can do this and and what do I need to do? And all these assholes do is they sit there and take notes and put your file on the shelf so that they can later try to suck money out of you. That is the problem. This picture is not a lack of respect on the part of a CEO and a general counsel. This is what America has come to. This is because America has lost its way. This is because our politicians don't do jack squat. Over 2 years, we've put all the evidence of ETHgate. It's all there. Warren Davidson did nothing. Tom Emmer did nothing. Patrick McHenry did nothing. Senator Warren's a creep show anyway. She wouldn't do anything anyway. She's part of the problem. None of the guys that are supposed to be the good guys defending us did anything. None of them have called for an investigation. It's bullcrap, and they know it, and we know it, and I question why they've done nothing. I think that they're part of the problem too, because America has lost its way. And part of losing its way is we no longer have representation in Congress to defend what's right and wrong. We now have a country where only the elites don't even have to, they're not even subject to the laws. They just get to pick and choose who they're going to go after, and that's it. The country's lost its way. And this picture right here, you know what's so important about this picture right here? This picture right here is America. This is America saying, U.S. government, SEC, you have no credibility left. The American people do not believe that you're honest and you're following what you were created to do. You don't have a faithful allegiance to the law. That's what this picture is. You're liars, you're corrupt, you're criminals, and everybody knows it now. And so I keep saying it on this channel because I'm thinking about my kids here. We either have a country now or we don't. And you're going to find out, in my opinion, inside of the next couple of years, whether we do or not. I truly believe that. And it makes me sick to my stomach. But not only should a Gary Gensler not have the position he has, a guy like that should be put on trial, folks. That's how far gone this country is. Instead of having any power, this guy should be put on trial. And everybody knows it. Ask Byron Donalds. He asked him some specific questions. These people are evil. They're not, this is not, the founders of this country would be turning over in their graves. It is sick what's going on. And I want to know where the freaking good guys are because I can't find them. There's two of them, as far as I can tell. So I put XRP, the only digital asset with legal clarity, on the building because that's the fact jack. We'll get to more of that in a minute. John Deaton says this is the only time I'm giving unsolicited advice, or any advice for that matter, to Ripple's CEO and general counsel. Since you were sued only days before Christmas, I suggest you make this picture a postcard that reads "Don't blame us" and send it to Clayton, Hinman, and Gensler for Christmas. Now, folks, write it down. I'm at 9:50 this morning. In about an hour, Brad and Stewart will be joining Ryan Selkis on the main stage at Masari. Chair Gensler has not yet replied to his invitation. And then remember, Stuart Alderati tweeted this last week. Joining CEO Brad Garlinghouse on stage at Mainnet 2023. Get your popcorn ready. Folks, a lot of people keep saying, oh, at the proper party, Ripple's going to make a major announcement. That's possible. But if I was guessing, if they had a major announcement of some sort, I think it's more likely that they would do it on stage at Masari. Maybe they won't, but I just think it would be more likely. And then you have the proper party. Because I think they would love to have some price that reflects a really, really big piece of news leading into the party. If I were them, I would anyway. But guess what? On Linqto, you can still get Ripple private equity. For now, it's reasonably priced, in my opinion. I can't talk about what the price is or anything, but Linqto is private equity used to be restricted to just ultra wealthy, but Linqto's changed the game, and all you have to do is go and sign up. The link's in the top of the description. They're one of my sponsors. Check this out from Black Swan Capital.
XRP is going to be like an alternative gold solution. I believe the United States is going to go dragging, kicking, screaming, and killing. And they're not going to want the BRICS gold token, but they're going to accept the XRP. And they're going to tell the U.S. citizens that it's not gold backed, and they will lie. That's how XRP is going to be used. European nations will use it as a compromise. The United States might use it as a compromise. And wherever it gets used, you guys, it's not going to go away. It's going to grow and not go backwards. That's how it goes to $100, $200, and maybe $500. You're going to block SWIFT usage for trade settlement. Will go to XRP as an alternative.
$100, $200, maybe $500. I hope he's right. Now, Anders L, he's over the target right here on this video I'd put out yesterday. He says, interestingly, in the video below, she says banks can't use public blockchains because of regulations. I put that part together with how I believe Ripple will onboard banks on using XRP with their payments. This is not to say I believe Citi would use XRP, but how Ripple would be able to onboard smaller banks at first without them having to rely on the large correspondent banks such as Citi. Folks, this is the dirty little secret right here. Citigroup, JP Morgan, all of them that are trying to use Ethereum, all of them, those don't have legal clarity. XRP does. And she literally makes reference. She makes reference to the fact that, yeah, we're waiting on stablecoin legislation. They have to wait on legislation, but XRP is free in the wild. That's why I told her yesterday, you should build on the XRP ledger. Scrap this Ethereum garbage.
And I think what you just said means that you are using a permissioned version of the Ethereum blockchain. We've been talking about this for several months now. We talked about it together earlier this year in the spring, but public blockchains, I know it's early in the game and this is, the way you're doing it now is the way you have to do it. But do you ever see there being a day or a reason for Citi itself or for a bank in general to implement public blockchains?
It's going to really depend on regulation, in my opinion, because right now it's only permissible for us to be on a permission chain.
You might have a bank that doesn't want to touch a digital asset. They're like, we can't have XRP on our books, we can't buy it, we can't sell it. It's just too much of a regulatory challenge for us. But let's say they want to make a payment in Mexico and they don't want to have to pre-fund and they don't want to have to get confirmation 3 days later. What they can do is they can have an XRapid customer that probably won't be a bank. It'll be a payment company or some other type of institution that uses a digital asset to buy the Mexican pesos as an internal treasury function and then offers those Mexican pesos to the bank. So it's a workaround to the limitations that we found that we think is adapted to the situation that we're in today.
And so that's what I expect turning the switch is going to be. It's going to be connecting banks to these other payment service providers that are already using the XRapid product and going through XRP now and increasing the volume.
All righty. Okay. Now, this is a good thread from Wrath of Kahneman. The New York BIT license, they had removed XRP from their green list yesterday. I want to get down to this part. New York Department of Financial Services keeps green list of tokens that are automatically approved for these license holders. In short, it's short and almost stable. It's short and almost all stables. XRP, DOG, and LTC were removed. Nobody mentioned removing LTC though. Important. Companies can still use off-list tokens, but it requires further vetting by New York and separate DFS approved coin listing policy in place. So XRP is not illegal in New York. It's just not an automatic go-ahead for New York licensed companies that want to use it there. So the removal only affects companies that can't face the added rigor of applying for a license in New York while offering off-list tokens. I assume large companies, trust banks, custody, fintechs that deal in securities must pass a higher level of scrutiny anyways. XRP removal from NYDFS, Greenlist adds extra regulatory burden companies wanting to use it. And it's bad press ostensibly suggesting it's risky. Only these high performance tokens on the list can be automatically trusted. All right. So that's interesting. Then we got this. Ripple's been recognized by Fortune magazine as one of the best places to work in technology 2023. We got this from John Deaton. I want to look further into this. Mark my word, the SEC enforcement director and Gary Gensler and this crypto chief David Hirsch are going to lose the long game because they don't have the most important and necessary thing on their side, the law. By the way, what happened to the SEC's former crypto czar Valerie Chapinick? That, my friends, I've been around John Deaton for a while now, and that right there is a John Deaton. It's like him sending the Batman signal into the air. Look into Valerie Topinick. Is she not at the SEC anymore? And would that be possibly because nobody wants her to be on the hot seat because she's got too much information? Speaking of John Deaton, yesterday he had Caitlin Long on, and listen to the question he asked her. Uh-oh.
And I got DMs asking me this, so I'm gonna throw this at you and ask you if you know anything or if you have a comment or you don't. But Stephen Ayeroff has made a claim that when he got arrested, he was thrown in a van and was demanded by the FBI to give up whatever information he had on a litany of people from, and you were on that list, and there were other people on the list, journalists on the list, such as Naomi Brockwell, a client of mine, Vitalik Buterin and others. And were you aware of that, or do you know anything about it?
I was not. I did not know anything about it until all that came out. And when I started looking into it, what I spotted was there were a lot of names on that list, and the press picked and chose a few that might be the best known, but there were a lot of names on that list. I knew nothing about it.
Okay. And so you really don't know anything about it?
Nope.
So this woman who has done nothing, someone's being thrown into a van by a 3-letter agency and being told, you give us dirt on this woman so that we can try to convict her. This goes right back to what I said at the beginning of this show. Do we have a country anymore? I mean, if we don't, we're headed towards, this is like the Gestapo that we're seeing. I mean, where are the freaking good guys? I keep asking that. I'm still waiting for them. I have plenty of friends who talk about the good guys are doing this and this behind the scenes. I hear all this stuff. Where are they? When are they? Because we're in a place in this country now where either the bad guys, I don't care how elite they are, all of them, either they start going to jail or we don't have a country anymore. It's lost, folks. Check this out. This right here, Charles Hoskinson, it can't be, but he's back talking about the grand conspiracy. It can't be because my grand conspiracy comments were strictly about people from Ethereum bribing the SEC to go after Ripple. I've been brutally attacked for more than a year now about this topic, and the harassment never stops. Now, one point I want to make, I've never done anything and I would never encourage anybody to harass anyone, not Charles Hoskins or anyone else. But he keeps throwing out that word, in my opinion, for a reason. He's trying to hang that around people's necks so that he can say, yeah, they're harassing me. This is bullying or some politically correct term that he could use to beat over your head. That's never been what I do. I'm just talking about the facts of what he's saying. I'm responding to the facts, and nobody should bully or harass anyone. So, but I think that's kind of a cop-out for him to go down that kind of a road. I see what he's doing. If you're going to throw out comments and basically tell 75,000 people that they're just grand conspiracy people, then they're going to respond to you, and don't go the cop-out route and then say, oh, you're harassing me. I mean, come on. So, but anyway, here's the point I wanted to make. He keeps throwing this out and trying to position this as if we're saying, oh yeah, Ethereum guys, they wrote a check to the SEC to go after Ripple, and they bribed the SEC, and they even put it in the memo of the check. I mean, he's trying to create that kind of narrative, and that's just not true. It's not what we've been saying. And what it is a distraction. He's trying to distract away from one simple thing. You can resolve all of this. You can resolve all this. Like Charles Hoskinson, all he has to do, he can do it on my channel or Crypto Law. All he has to do, let me put John Deaton on the thing. I'll get on there too if they need me to. On the video, and we go through the timeline, and he can tell us everything about what's wrong, what we're wrong about, the specific facts, the ones that aren't in dispute. We'll go over the specific facts. We'll ask questions like, hey, Charles, I got this video here where it says JP Morgan was working with Ethereum before the public mainnet launch. Can you tell us more about that? Because you were there. Or Charles, you said that y'all had Goldman Sachs programmers working on Ethereum from the very beginning. Tell us more about that. What was their involvement? Who were they? Name some names. Let's hear some names. See, they can't do that. They can't do that because think about what we found just from public information that has come out and what we pieced together. And just imagine if they actually answered some real questions and named some names and told us a few real people out there that we could imagine what we could investigate then. More facts, okay? Man, he don't want any part of that. None of these Ethereum guys do because we're directly over the target and they freaking know it. And by the way, just as a point of note, you know, we've been talking about, you know, that country over there, the C word, and all the ties between like Prometheum and Ethereum and all of that. This is just a by the way. You know, Charles's company is called IOHK. Do you know what the HK stands for? That would be Hong Kong. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Charles Hoskinson is welcome on this channel. I'm sure John Deaton would have him on, and we can go through the timeline. And we'll ask questions until he gets angry and gets off, because that's what he would do. Thanks for listening.